Etepu, Assalamu alaikum, Namaste, Haru Nefer. This is Qesankh Keperu with another exciting video for you. And in this video, I'm going to talk about how to attract abundance. And I'm going to use Mansa Musa, one of the richest men ever, as an example or case study, shall we say. But before I do that, I want you to hit the like button on this video. If this is your first time to my channel, hit the subscribe button to get notifications on when I go live and when I upload recorded videos. And if you'd like to know more about my spiritual teachings, I do have 4 free ebooks. You scroll down, click on any one of those links, download the ebook, and start reading today. It's free. And I will be writing another ebook. As long as the Oracle says it's okay. And if this is not enough for you, you can become a Patreon supporter for as little as $1, $5, or $20 per month. You'll get exclusive access to instructional videos on the spiritual, videos on the esoteric that will teach you how to meditate, proper breathing exercises to calm your spirit, make you less emotional, how to contact the ancestors, how to do lucid dreaming, how to astral project, how to work with deities and spirits and interdimensional beings. And last but not least, if you are an Osir level supporter, you'll get all your Oracle readings for free. So become a Patreon supporter today. And I want you to share this video with family and friends so we can get this revolution started, okay? So Haru Nefer, Hetep, Namaste, Grand Rising. Let's get into talking about this very, very important subject. One of the greatest things in terms of economics I learned was from a dear friend of mine in New York many, many years ago. And he was an awesome guy. He used to call and leave me voicemail messages. And he would talk about social issues. I guess he was trying to really educate me on these things. And he was giving me a wealth of knowledge. And the one thing I learned is that when you look at business, you can't look at it as a free enterprise system or, this is a capitalist system and anybody can make it and do what they want. That's not necessarily true, you see. You need to see this movie called Gangs of New York. A nice movie because it educates you on how all these ethnic groups started vying for positions of power in early New York. And what was important that I learned from that and from my friend is that he talked about when these ethnic groups came to America, they fought for positions of power to dominate certain industries. That's what they're called, captains of industry. We know that the Irish went into the police force and dominated the police force. Obvious there. Italians went into construction and dominated construction. Jews went into Hollywood and banking and dominated those fields. But here is really the most important thing that and then we can go on and say the Chinese, worked in the railroad, but, started opening laundromats and things like that in the communities. But one of the most important things to understand is how all of these ethnic groups were vying for positions of power, and they got into an industry and they dominated the industry. And the one thing that they did that we don't know and understand and haven't learned today is that they closed those industries off to anyone else. You try to get into construction and see what happens. You try to get into Hollywood and dominate things there. You can try, but it won't work. You know what I mean? Hold on one second. Okay, great. You can try to get into banking and dominate that, but it won't work. You see, these ethnic groups not only got into it and dominated, but they made sure that their own people would get jobs, and it wouldn't be, like those opportunities wouldn't be afforded to any other ethnic group or racial groups. This is how they dominated the market, But when you go to business school, you're taught these principles. I'm not downing business school, but you're taught these principles about it's a free enterprise system. Anyone can with a little bit of capital start their own business and thrive. That's not necessarily so. Not too long ago, Jada Pinkett, and I talked about this in our previous broadcasts, was upset that her husband didn't get nominated for an Oscar, and she went on TV and made a plea to African Americans that we need to start our own Hollywood. And when I see ADOS people or Black people get upset about their portrayal in the movies, they always say, well, we've got to start our own Hollywood. It's too late for that. Read the book, The Empire of Their Own, How the Jews Created Hollywood. You see, to compete with an entity like Hollywood, which is a global conglomerate, it's almost impossible at this point. And if you think that any business or industry is going to allow you to rise up and just challenge them, you're fooling yourself. They will crush you the minute they know you become a threat. This is why we have corporate takeovers, corporate wars. So you have people who mean well but are ignorant and say, well, we got to start our own production company or movie studio. Not even what Tyler Perry created can compete against Hollywood itself. Hollywood is global. You must understand that. There's a good movie called Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield, and he was in a business class and he was laughing at the professor teaching because the professor was teaching theory and he was trying to tell the professor, look, I'll teach you application. There's a big difference. The teacher had come up with an idea of a widget, and they would build a factory to produce those widgets. And Rodney Dangerfield says, well, how are you going to build that factory? Because if you're planning to build it out of concrete, the Italians would like to have a word with you. And what he was saying was you couldn't build anything without going to the Italians who dominated the construction industry. This is how business works. It's not about you, starting something and then building it from the ground up and then becoming bigger than something. It doesn't work that way. Watch the movie The Founder and how Ray Kroc built up McDonald's. He did it from the ground up, but he had no real competition back then. So that's a different case study. You understand? When these ethnic groups came to this country and found avenues of opportunity, they quickly closed those doors off so they could dominate those industries. And one of the things that we, as ADOS people of African descent, we don't have the cutthroatness of the Western mindset, because business to them is war. And we, especially Black men, I believe, are a little too kind. And the way that they have reached their level of wealth has not been necessarily through altruistic means, as the media would like to portray. Most of these individuals, the billionaires, the gazillionaires, the trillionaires, have done incredibly horrible things. And they're horrible people. Just look at how the iPhone is manufactured. Look at how slave labor is taken and used in Africa. Just look at the chocolate industry, Hershey, getting children to mine and grow the seeds for the chocolate, and paying them so little they couldn't even afford to buy a chocolate bar. That takes someone with a lack of emotions, who's concerned about, who's just a greedy, selfish person, who's not concerned about the welfare of others. But I'm not here to berate those individuals, because I know many of you idolize them. But what I'm here to tell you, that if you are looking to achieve abundance or any measure of wealth, and if you want to be ultra wealthy, you better take into account what that's going to do to you. How it will affect your soul. And if you're going to play that game, it's a very dangerous game you're playing, because people turn up missing, turn up dead. The minute you start competing against someone else, you're taking food from their mouths, as it says, and those individuals don't look kindly upon that. And I want to disclose this as well. Most of these billionaires and trillionaires, what you don't understand is that the wealth that they have gained has first been through family inheritance or through a trust fund. These individuals didn't come out of nowhere, have $5 in the bank, and then start building an empire. That's a lie. And the media keeps perpetuating that. Most of them from your you look at your Bill Gates, Elon Musk. Most of these individuals already came from wealthy families. See, when you're in the inner circle of a family, let's say, for example, because I identify as white now, right? So let's say if I go to my white family who doesn't have a lineage of slavery, and most of them are hedge fund managers, operate banks, deal on the stock market. And I go to them and I say, listen, I got an idea for a flying car. Could you lend me 10 million to make that dream happen? Well, your white family or their white social circle has that type of money to lend to you if you present the business perspective and all that properly. But then let's look at the ADOS African American, Black male or female, who comes from a lineage of slavery, and there's a racial wealth gap. Who do they have to go to in their family for money? They can go to Uncle Floyd, and he works at a factory. They can go to Aunt Janice, and she's a receptionist at a company. They can go to Brother Bob, and he has a UPS job. Do you see the disparity here? And you trying to go and get money from them, $10 million, that's not going to happen. And as a family, they're not accustomed to investing. So it's going to be a pretty hard sell for you versus the white boy going to his inner circle family who are accustomed to investing and don't mind losing $400,000. It's a different world there. This is why there's the push for reparations to level things out, because most of those billionaires, those millionaires, have made their money through family inheritance, a legacy that was built upon slavery. I'm going to say it again. Most of those rich, wealthy individuals today gain their money from slavery, passed down to them. And you, as a black person, inherit nothing. Nothing. But then they want to tell you that, hey, you know what? America is a place of opportunities, you know? It depends on what family you're born into. You know what I mean? Oh, we do have some people who are rich and wealthy, but they're in sports and entertainment, but they will never be on the same level as a Warren Buffett or Mark Zuckerberg or Jeff Bezos. And again, all of these individuals that I am stating did not pull themselves up by their bootstraps. They came from a family of money, all of them. And they were privileged enough to be in an inner circle that had money and that could give them to start their businesses. And these wealthy individuals, the example I give you for the white boy, they go to some of the most prestigious schools. They learn business. So you're probably just going to a regular HBCU, historically black college, Different world totally. And you're cut off from that. If I get into fiber optics and start making a lot of money, I'm not going to allow you to get into the industry, nor am I going to allow you to compete against me. I'll crush you very quickly. Oh, I'm going to compete against Amazon. I'm going to be the next Amazon. I'm going to be the next Uber. No, you're not. That's not going to happen. You don't have the capital. You don't have the connections. And you certainly won't be allowed to get to that level by the all boys club. I want you to think about that. And then we have the propaganda media that tries to portray that our avenues of opportunity are being a rap star, are getting into music, or getting into, I don't know, entertainment. That's a pipe dream. And to make it worse, they have these rappers on TV and on internet flaunting their wealth, making it rain with the money. And I'm going to be honest with you, because I don't want to sugarcoat things. Black people are simple-minded, very simple-minded. Well, what do I mean by that? They think in terms of very simple concepts and generalities. Case in point, if I talk to you about a business that you can start, and within 10 years, you could be a multi-millionaire, versus another person showing you his business secret with rappers throwing money up and making it rain and saying, jump into my program and you're going to be rich. Most Black people would go for the making it rain, because we don't ask the pertinent questions. Can I see a business proposal? Can I see your cash flow projections over the next 10 years? No. We just go by the image we see. This is why every young Black boy wants to be a rapper. We got too many of them. Because they gravitate so easy. They said that your chances of becoming a big-time rich rapper, your chances of you have a greater chance of being a brain surgeon. Think about that. You have a better chance of becoming a brain surgeon than a wealthy rapper. And when the opportunities to come along, when there is a change in the market, where a new industry pops up, we don't have the characteristics of early adopters. We don't. We're not early adopters. And it's those early adopters that get into something, dominate it, and become filthy rich. Just like the tech industry. The Russians and people in India knew that was going to be big. That was going to be big. So they trained their people in IT. Meanwhile, the Black community, no one decided to, and I know that the individuals have gone into IT, but I'm not saying that they haven't gone into there in measurable numbers to dominate that industry. The Indians dominate the call center industry. They also dominate programming. They influence Washington to make it so that they could bring more Indian people in and get trained and start working in Silicon Valley. We should have taken an opportunity to do that. To see that there is a shift in the market, and now that this whole internet thing was going to be big, and we should have went in there and started hundreds of startup companies. Dominated that. Don't cost a lot of money. But we didn't, because we continually miss those opportunities that come along in favor of, and this is a negative character about us, immediate gratification. We see immediate money and we go that avenue and that opportunity versus the long haul of when you'll make multi-millions of dollars. If I tell you operating this business is going to be very tough, but in 10 years, you'll be probably one of the most richest people, versus someone coming along and saying, if you start this business within a year, you're going to make $5 million. You're going to jump on that business. Immediate gratification. We got to have it overnight. We got to have it right away. And these rappers who are out there making it rain and pretending that they're wealthy, they're not. A lot of them are phonies, but you fall into that belief. There were a couple of grifters that came along in the Black community and took all the money from these poor Black people who invested in them. One was Umar Johnson, pretending that he was going to build a school. The other one was this brother who started this real estate fund. Oh God, why does his name escape me now? I was just talking about him too. You know, He's going to start this, Jay Morrison, that's his name, Jay Morrison, was going to start this real estate fund. And any idiot could see that he was just some clown. And if you had done any work to look into his background, you see that he filed bankruptcy, and he had a criminal record. But what happened? Black people invested in him, and he walked away for over $10 million of Black people's money and never made a penny for them. And now people are all upset. Don't be upset at him, be upset at you. You should have checked his background out. But see, again, we're into immediate gratification. We're into just seeing things, the bling and all that, and falling for it. Meanwhile, there are really good business entrepreneurs selling good stuff or packages or programs who are not driving around in BMWs or whatever, not flaunting their wealth. A lot of people invested with Brother Polite. Where is he now? He's in jail. You can see that this man was a type of con man. So I wanted to talk to you about this because it's important that we understand that there are ways that we can compete and make money, but it's not going to be easy. And we have to keep in mind that it's not massive wealth we want, it's abundance. And for that abundance, we must go to the goddess Ma'at because she deals with abundance. And what is that definition of abundance? Having the ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it. Now, when we look at these billionaires again, and some of these Arabs who are trillionaires and come from this royal family, making their money off fossil fuel, they're disgusting. They are disgusting people who have so much money, they don't know what to do with it. They're in Dubai, and in Dubai, a license plate is kind of a status symbol there. So they're purchasing license plates for like over $1 million, over $10 million, just a license plate. Just show off some type of status. This is how rich these people are, that they can spend $10 million on a license plate. Now, there's a difference between having abundance and hoarding wealth. When you are holding back the progress of the world by making them dependent on fossil fuel, so you could be a trillionaire, so you can walk around with, and many of them have so many cars. One even got a car that was all gold. And there are people that are starving, that don't have money, that live just in horrible conditions. And you have these Saudis and these Arabs who are trillionaires now. They're trillionaires. And they know they can't spend all that money within their lifetime. Just go and buy ridiculous stuff like a car all gold plated. So what I'm telling you is that when you look at a Jeff Bezos or Warren Buffett or Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk, you're looking at individuals who are hoarding wealth. Wealth is calcified at the top, and our American system is based on those principles. This is why they don't want to give reparations to Black people. They don't want Black people competing in the business market, because they need to stay on top. They need to squeeze as much money out of you, who are doing all of the hard labor. But what do? We idolize Beyonce and Jay-Z who made money selling dope, drugs, to be where he is. What kind of stuff is that? I want to talk about a man that we should all admire. His name was Mansa Musa. He was the richest man ever to walk the face of the earth. But that's not what makes him an extraordinary man. What makes him so extraordinary is that he, wherever he went, he gave money out to the poor. He didn't hoard the wealth, in other words. He was kind of like the idea of ma'at, giving, seeking nothing in return, balance, reciprocity, abundance. So I want to take a look at him because I think he's a person that we can aspire to be like.
If someone asked you who the richest people in history were, who would you name? Perhaps a billionaire banker or corporate mogul like Bill Gates or John D. Rockefeller. How about African King Musa Kita I? Ruling the Mali Empire in the 14th century CE, Mansa Musa, or the King of Kings, amassed a fortune that possibly made him one of the wealthiest people who ever lived. But his vast wealth was only one piece of his rich legacy. When Mansa Musa came to power in 1312, much of Europe was racked by famine and civil wars. But many African kingdoms and the Islamic world were flourishing, and Mansa Musa played a great role in bringing the fruits of this flourishing to his own realm. By strategically annexing the city of Timbuktu and re-establishing power over the city of Gal, he gained control over important trade routes between the Mediterranean and the West African coast, continuing a period of expansion which dramatically increased Mali's size. The territory of the Mali Empire was rich in natural resources, such as gold and salt. The world first witnessed the extent of Mansa Musa's wealth in 1324, when he took his pilgrimage to Mecca. Not one to travel on a budget, he brought a caravan stretching as far as the eye could see. Accounts of this journey are mostly based on an oral testimony and differing written records, so it's difficult to determine the exact details. But what most agree on is the extravagant scale of the excursion. Chroniclers describe an entourage of tens of thousands of soldiers, civilians, and slaves, 500 heralds, bearing gold staffs and dressed in fine silks, and many camels and horses bearing an abundance of gold bars. Stopping in cities such as Cairo, Mansa Musa is said to have spent massive quantities of gold, giving to the poor, buying souvenirs, and even having mosques built along the way. In fact, his spending may have destabilized the regional economy, causing mass inflation. This journey reportedly took over a year, and by the time Mansa Musa returned, tales of his amazing wealth had spread to the ports of the Mediterranean. Mali and its king were elevated to near legendary status, cemented by their inclusion on the 1375 Catalan Atlas. One of the most important world maps of medieval Europe, it depicted the king holding a scepter and a gleaming gold nugget. Mansa Musa had literally put his empire and himself on the map. But material riches weren't the king's only concern. As a devout Muslim, he took a particular interest in Timbuktu, already a center of religion and learning prior to its annexation. Upon returning from his pilgrimage, he had the great Djinguereber Mosque built there with the help of an Andalusian architect. He also established a major university, further elevating the city's reputation and attracting scholars and students from all over the Islamic world. Under Mansa Musa, the empire became urbanized, with schools and mosques in hundreds of densely populated towns. The king's rich legacy persisted for generations, and to this day, there are mausoleums, libraries, and mosques that stand as a testament to this golden age of Mali's history.
Interesting, huh? Here you have the richest man in the world, a black man, giving money out, not calcifying it at the top, just giving the money out. So much so that it just created crazy inflation in these countries. We're not seeing that today, of course, you see. And it's really unfortunate Because the entire principle that Ma'at is based on is if you give, you're not just giving to another person, you're giving to yourself. Because we all are one. We all are one consciousness. And that energy pervades, and we don't understand the power of that. Sort of the Bible talks about that. Like doing to others as if you want done to you. One of the things that is very powerful about Ma'at is her mantra. It's a mantra of wealth that you can recite on a Thursday to attract abundance in your life. And it goes like this. It goes, shilling, shilling. And when you sit and you meditate and you're reciting this mantra mentally and you're visualizing yourself accumulating wealth or good health or whatever it is you're looking for, this mantra changes your frequency so that you can attract those things. Sometimes they say, well, wealth is a mindset. Well, this is what we're talking about, a mantra, a frequency. So what I would love to do for just a moment or two is for us to tune into that frequency so we all can have abundance. So I want you to just close your eyes right now and visualize what you're looking for in terms of wealth. You can say, hey, I'm looking to get in my first year to make $250,000, or I'm looking this year, I want to make $1 million. It's okay. Visualize yourself accomplishing that goal, only accomplishing it. Visualize that. And as you close your eyes and visualize that, you're going to recite Ma'at's mantra to get you there to that wealth. Let's do that together.
Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha. Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha. Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha.
Keep visualizing your objective.
Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha.
You don't have to worry about pronouncing the other words, just Om Shri.
Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha. Om Shri Mahalakshmi
Try to relax your body and relax your mind.
Om Shri Mahalakshmi.
Don't allow any other thoughts to enter your mindset. Total relaxation.
Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha.
Reciting the mantra mentally.
Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha.
Visualize yourself with the wealth.
Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha. Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha.
Feel the enjoyment and excitement for being financially independent.
Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha. Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha.
Visualize all your bills being paid.
Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha.
Now visualize yourself giving money out to people.
Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha. Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha.
Visualize in detail the wealth that you're going to accumulate.
Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha. Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha.
Okay, you can open your eyes now, feeling refreshed, feeling rich. Go check your bank account. Banks do make mistakes. So keep that mantra in mind and try to work with that mantra as much as possible, particularly on Thursdays. But you don't have to limit it to just Thursdays. And what you're doing is you're drawing the wealth and abundance to you. And be open to it coming in various different ways. If it doesn't come through your business, don't go, oh, shoot, it didn't work. Because it may come through a friend that comes along and gives you a stock tip, or gives you an idea for another business that will really take off. So be open to how this wealth will come to you, and be dedicated to reciting the mantra. I want to thank you all for taking the moment to join me on this broadcast. If you get an opportunity, please donate to the channel. This is Qesankh Ma Keperu, son of Ma and Tahuti. My aunt is the beautiful goddess Heteru. Until my next video, Amen Ra.